A wealthy black man went undercover as a regular shopper at one of his luxury stores. However, the store owner didn't recognize him and made racist remarks toward him. The next day, the owner was shocked when he was summoned to the company headquarters and realized that the black man was actually the true owner. Subscribe to our channel so you won't miss meaningful and thought-provoking stories like this. Where in the world are you watching this video from? Let us know in the comments below. Oliver Carter, a successful black businessman with a career spanning multiple industries, stood quietly on the corner of Fifth Avenue. Dressed in simple attire, Oliver wore jeans, a black jacket, and a cap pulled low over his face. He stood there, observing the bustling crowd, his eyes fixed on the glass doors of a luxury store, one of the flagship locations he owned. The tall building with its modern architecture and golden brand name gleamed under the sunlight, attracting passers-by with its grandeur. Customers came and went, carrying bags full of high-end items, their faces glowing with satisfaction from their shopping experience. But today, Oliver wasn't there to admire his achievements. He wanted to uncover the truth about how his staff treated customers without the influence of his status or wealth. Oliver had conducted similar undercover visits to his other stores, but this time it was personal. This store was his pride and joy, located in the city where he grew up. He wanted to see firsthand if the store truly upheld the values he championed: inclusivity, fairness, and respect. Taking a deep breath, Oliver approached the entrance and pushed open the heavy glass door. A soft chime rang out, announcing his presence. He was immediately enveloped by the opulence of the store. Polished marble floors reflected the light from crystal chandeliers, and products were displayed artfully within sparkling glass cases. The scent of expensive cologne mingled with soft background jazz, creating an ambience of refined luxury. Although Oliver had been involved in designing this very space, today he felt like an outsider. His casual outfit starkly contrasted with the polished image of the typical clientele, those who arrived in designer clothing with an air of confidence. But this was intentional. He wanted to determine whether the staff treated all customers equally. Oliver approached the watch display and was drawn to an elegant black leather-strapped timepiece. Picking it up, he appreciated its weight and intricate design. However, he soon noticed the judgmental gaze of the store's manager. Frank Miller, the store manager, was a man in his 50s with a stocky build. He stood near the checkout counter, dressed in an expensive but slightly snug suit. Frank's eyes glanced briefly at Oliver before he frowned. After a moment's hesitation, he walked over. "Excuse me," Oliver said, keeping a friendly tone. "Could you tell me more about this watch?" Frank stopped in front of Oliver, his expression critical. After a brief pause, he replied, "This is one of our limited edition models. Very exclusive and high-end. I'm not sure it's what you're looking for." Oliver smiled, maintaining his composure. "Why do you think so?" Frank shrugged, his tone cold and detached. "Because it's expensive, $122,000. We have other options that might suit your budget better." Oliver gently placed the watch back in the case, his eyes steady but expression neutral. He decided to probe further. "And if I wanted to purchase this one?" Frank's brow furrowed, and his tone grew impatient. "We require proof of payment before allowing customers to handle such high-value items. It's our policy to ensure the quality of our service." Oliver realized that Frank had no idea who he was. Rather than continue the conversation, he gave a polite smile and left the store. But inside, he was already resolved that this encounter wouldn't end here. That evening, Oliver sat in his home office, staring at his laptop displaying performance reports for his store chain. His mind replayed the interactions from earlier that day. Frank's behavior wasn't just a personal slight. It reflected a flawed mindset that could undermine the core values Oliver had built his brand upon. Oliver believed that luxury should not equate to discrimination. Instead, it should represent respect and offer the best experience to everyone, regardless of who they were or where they came from. Frank's attitude directly contradicted that belief. Determined to take action, Oliver began drafting a plan to confront Frank. But instead of immediately firing him, Oliver wanted to understand the underlying reasons for this behavior and assess whether it was an isolated incident or indicative of a broader systemic issue at the store. Oliver didn't sleep much that night, his thoughts cycling through the events at the store. Frank's dismissive attitude wasn't just unprofessional. It was a direct violation of the principles Oliver had worked so hard to instill in his company. The brand was supposed to represent inclusivity, respect, and sophistication, a place where luxury didn't come with judgment, but with exceptional service. Yet, what he had witnessed was a complete departure from that vision. The next morning, Oliver arrived at his company's sleek, glass-walled headquarters in Midtown Manhattan. The air inside the building was quiet, efficient, and buzzing with purpose. Oliver headed straight to the executive conference room, a spacious area with a long polished table and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. He had already summoned Frank for a meeting, disguising it as a routine performance review. This, he knew, would ensure Frank showed up without suspicion. As Oliver settled into the chair at the head of the table, his assistant entered to notify him that Frank had arrived. Moments later, the store manager walked in, dressed sharply in a tailored suit, his face a mask of curiosity and mild irritation, as though he expected to breeze through a perfunctory meeting and return to his duties. But the moment Frank's eyes landed on Oliver, his confident stride faltered. Confusion flashed across his face as he struggled to place the casually dressed man from the store who now occupied the seat of power in this opulent room. "Good morning, Mr. Miller," Oliver began, his tone measured but firm. "Please take a seat." Frank hesitated, then slowly lowered himself into the chair opposite Oliver. "Good morning, Mr. Carter," he said cautiously, his usual self-assured demeanor replaced with uncertainty. "I wasn't expecting to see you here. Is everything all right?" "No, Frank," Oliver replied, his gaze unwavering. "Everything is not all right. I've called you here to address some serious concerns about your behavior at the store." Frank shifted in his seat, his confusion deepening. "Concerns?" he echoed. "With all due respect, sir, sales are up, and the store is performing well. If there's a specific issue, I'd be happy to address it." Oliver leaned forward, resting his forearms on the table. "Sales are not the issue here, Frank. The issue is how you treat people. Yesterday, I visited the store, dressed casually, as an ordinary customer. You didn't recognize me, and what I experienced was unacceptable." Frank's eyes widened as realization began to dawn on him. He opened his mouth to respond, but Oliver continued, his tone sharpening. "You judge me based on my appearance. You dismissed me, made assumptions about my worth, and refused to provide the level of service we promise every customer. This is not just about how you treated me. It's about the values this company stands for, values you failed to uphold." Frank's face paled, and his confident facade crumbled. "Mr. Carter, I didn't know it was you," he stammered. "If I had known—" "That's precisely the problem," Oliver interrupted. "You shouldn't have to know who someone is to treat them with basic decency and respect. This brand is built on inclusivity and excellence, not exclusivity and prejudice. Your behavior doesn't just harm the store's reputation. It undermines everything we stand for." Frank leaned forward, his voice tinged with desperation. "I was only trying to maintain the brand's image, sir. Our customers expect exclusivity, a certain level of sophistication. I didn't mean any harm. I was doing what I thought was necessary." Oliver's expression hardened. "Exclusivity doesn't mean exclusion, Frank. It means providing exceptional service to everyone who walks through our doors, regardless of how they look or what they wear. What you demonstrated yesterday wasn't exclusivity, it was arrogance." Frank opened his mouth to protest, but Oliver raised a hand to silence him. "Effective immediately, your franchise agreement is terminated. You are no longer in charge of the store." The color drained from Frank's face. "Mr. Carter, please," he pleaded, his voice cracking. "I've been with this company for years. I've helped build that store's reputation. I can change. I'll do whatever it takes." Oliver stood, his gaze steady and unyielding. "This isn't about one mistake, Frank. It's about a pattern of behavior, a mindset that doesn't align with our values. I can't allow you to continue representing this brand. Security will escort you out, and you'll receive instructions on the termination process." Frank's shoulders slumped as he realized there was no saving his position. With one last desperate look at Oliver, he muttered, "You're making a mistake. You'll regret this." "No, Frank," Oliver said firmly. The mistake was allowing someone like you to remain in a position where you could harm the company's reputation. My responsibility is to protect this brand and ensure its values are upheld." Frank stood abruptly, his face a mixture of anger and resignation. Without another word, he stormed out of the room, his footsteps echoing down the hallway. Oliver watched him go, a sense of finality settling over him. It wasn't satisfaction he felt, but resolve. This wasn't just about firing Frank. It was about safeguarding the integrity of his company and ensuring that every customer felt valued and respected. Oliver turned to his assistant, who had witnessed the exchange silently. "Make sure he's escorted out, and begin the transition process immediately." "Yes, Mr. Carter," she replied, nodding. Oliver walked to the window, gazing out at the bustling streets of New York. He had taken a necessary step today, but he knew the work was far from over. The challenge now was to rebuild the store's culture and ensure that such behavior was never repeated. He resolved to start by empowering the right leaders, those who understood and embraced the values he held dear. Oliver didn't waste any time after Frank's dismissal. That very afternoon, he held a meeting with the store's assistant manager, Emma Lewis. Emma was known for her professionalism and her genuine care for both the staff and the customers. Oliver had observed her quietly during his visit to the store and was impressed by her composed demeanor, even in the midst of Frank's condescending behavior. "Emma," Oliver began as they sat in a private conference room at headquarters, "I've made the decision to terminate Frank's agreement with the company. His leadership didn't reflect the values we stand for, and I won't allow that to continue." Emma nodded, her hands clasped tightly on the table. "I understand, Mr. Carter. Frank's approach, it often made things difficult. The staff struggled to keep up with his demands, and I've seen customers walk away because they didn't feel welcomed. That's exactly why I'm here," Oliver said, his tone reassuring. "I want to offer you the position of interim manager. I've seen how you handle yourself under pressure and how you interact with both staff and customers. I believe you're the right person to lead this store forward." Emma's eyes widened in surprise. "Me? Mr. Carter, I don't know what to say. I've always cared about this store and the people here, but I never imagined I'd be in this position." "I have no doubts about your capability," Oliver said, his voice firm but encouraging. "The store needs someone who understands what it means to treat every person with respect, someone who values inclusivity and excellence. I know you're that person." Emma took a deep breath, her initial shock giving way to determination. "Thank you, Mr. Carter. I won't let you down. I'll do everything I can to make this store a place where everyone feels valued." "I trust you will," Oliver replied with a small smile. "We'll start with a complete retraining program for the staff. I'll provide all the resources you need to ensure that everyone understands the importance of our core values. And I'll be checking in regularly to support you." Emma nodded, her confidence growing. "I'll start planning the training sessions right away. The staff needs to feel empowered, and I want to make sure they know they're supported." Oliver stood, extending a hand to Emma. "You have my full support. Together, we'll turn this store into the model of what our brand represents." Emma shook his hand firmly, her resolve clear in her expression. "Thank you, Mr. Carter. I won't let you down." The following week, Emma hit the ground running. She scheduled team meetings to discuss the new direction for the store and began organizing workshops on customer service, cultural sensitivity, and inclusivity. Oliver attended the first training session to show his commitment to the changes. Standing before the assembled staff, he spoke with sincerity and passion. "I know the past few days have been challenging," he began, his eyes meeting those of the employees seated before him. "But this is an opportunity for growth. Our brand isn't just about luxury. It's about making people feel valued, respected, and welcomed. Every person who walks through our doors deserves exceptional service, regardless of how they look or where they come from. That's the standard we're setting, and I know all of you are capable of achieving it." The staff responded positively, their initial apprehension giving way to a sense of renewed purpose. They respected Oliver's transparency and appreciated Emma's approachable leadership style. The store began to transform, the atmosphere growing warmer and more inclusive with each passing day. One morning, about a month after Frank's departure, Oliver decided to visit the store unannounced. As he entered, the familiar chime of the door greeted him. But this time, the energy inside the store felt entirely different. The staff were engaged and attentive, welcoming customers with genuine smiles. Emma was at the back of the store, assisting an older couple who were looking at diamond necklaces. Oliver walked over to James, one of the sales associates who had been vocal during the initial staff meetings. "Good morning, James," Oliver said, shaking his hand. "How are things going?" James beamed. "Good morning, Mr. Carter. Things are going really well. The training sessions have been a game changer. Emma's been amazing at helping us understand how to create a better experience for everyone. It feels like we're all working together as a real team now." "That's exactly what I was hoping to hear," Oliver said with a nod. "Keep up the great work. I'm proud of how you've all embraced this change." As Oliver made his way through the store, he couldn't help but notice the positive energy radiating from both the staff and the customers. The transformation was undeniable, and it was clear that Emma's leadership had been pivotal in fostering this environment. At the jewelry counter, Emma finished assisting the older couple and looked up, spotting Oliver. She excused herself and walked over, her face lighting up with a warm smile. "Mr. Carter, it's good to see you." "You too, Emma," Oliver replied. "I wanted to stop by and see how things are going. From what I've seen so far, you've done a fantastic job." Emma's expression reflected her pride and gratitude. "Thank you, Mr. Carter. The team has been incredible. They've really embraced the changes, and we're already seeing positive feedback from our customers. I think we're on the right track." "I agree," Oliver said with a smile. "You've turned this store around, and I couldn't be more pleased with the progress. You've shown exceptional leadership, Emma." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of the door chime, ringing loudly. Both turned to see Frank standing at the entrance, looking noticeably different. His suit was less crisp, his posture less confident, and his face bore a mix of weariness and uncertainty. Spotting Oliver, he hesitated for a moment before walking over. "Mr. Carter," Frank began, his voice quieter than usual. "I know I'm the last person you want to see, but I need to speak with you. Please, just give me a moment." Oliver's expression was calm, but guarded. He glanced at Emma, who looked surprised but stayed silent, then back at Frank. "All right, Frank," Oliver said evenly. "You have a moment. What is it you want to say?" Frank took a deep breath, his shoulders sagging. "I came to apologize," he said, his voice thick with regret. "I've had time to think about my actions, and I realize now how wrong I was. I judge people unfairly. I let my prejudices cloud my judgment, and I failed to do my job. I'm truly sorry, Mr. Carter." Oliver listened without interrupting, his expression unreadable. Frank continued, his desperation growing. "I've been with the company for years. I care about the brand and the store. Please give me another chance. Let me prove that I can change. I'll do whatever it takes." Oliver remained silent for a moment, letting Frank's words linger in the air. He thought about the countless customers Frank had likely dismissed over the years, the damage done to the store's reputation, and the principles that Oliver had built his brand upon. Frank's apology seemed sincere, but it had come too late. "Frank," Oliver began, his voice calm but firm. "I appreciate your apology, but this isn't just about one mistake. It's about a pattern of behavior that doesn't align with our values. What I saw at the store wasn't an oversight. It was the result of a mindset that has no place in this company." Frank's face fell, his desperation turning to resignation. "I understand," he said quietly, almost to himself. "I just thought maybe—" Oliver's tone softened slightly. "I hope you take this as an opportunity to reflect and grow. This isn't about punishment. It's about ensuring the right people are in place to uphold the values of this brand. I wish you the best in your future endeavors, but you won't be getting this store back." Frank nodded, his eyes downcast. "Thank you for your time, Mr. Carter," he said quietly. Without another word, he turned and walked out of the store, his footsteps heavy with defeat. Oliver watched him leave, a mixture of pity and resolve filling his heart. Frank's remorse, though genuine, couldn't undo the damage he had caused. Emma broke the silence. "Thank you for not letting him come back," she said softly. "I think the team would have been worried if he did." Oliver nodded. "I made my decision based on what's best for the store and the people who work here. You've done a great job, Emma. Keep up the good work. We're building something special here, and I'm confident in your ability to lead." Emma smiled, her eyes shining with determination. "Thank you, Mr. Carter. I won't let you down." Oliver looked around the store, watching as the staff interacted with customers, their engagements warm and professional. The transformation was real, and the impact was tangible. He knew there would be challenges ahead, but with leaders like Emma and a commitment to the brand's core values, he was confident they could face them. As he stepped out of the store and onto the bustling streets of New York, Oliver felt a renewed sense of purpose. This wasn't just about running a business. It was about creating a legacy of respect, inclusivity, and integrity. And with the right people in place, he was certain that legacy would thrive. Over the following weeks, Oliver ensured that the transformation in the store continued seamlessly. Emma's leadership was proving to be a breath of fresh air for both the staff and the customers. The store now embodied the values Oliver had always envisioned: respect, inclusivity, and exceptional service for all. One of the most impactful changes Emma implemented was a comprehensive staff training program. Each session focused not just on improving technical skills, but also on building emotional intelligence and cultural awareness. Trainers brought in real-life scenarios, encouraging the team to reflect on how they could create a more welcoming environment. Oliver personally attended one of the sessions to address the staff and underscore the importance of their roles. "We're not just selling luxury items," Oliver said, standing in front of a room filled with attentive employees. "We're selling an experience that tells every customer they belong here, that they're valued. It's not the price tag that makes something valuable. It's how we make people feel when they're here. And I believe each of you has the ability to create that feeling." The staff responded enthusiastically, inspired by his words. Many of them had previously felt stifled under Frank's management, and this newfound emphasis on respect and growth gave them a renewed sense of purpose. Emma also took time to meet with each team member individually, listening to their concerns and ideas. She understood that building trust and morale required open communication. One conversation stood out in particular. James, the young sales associate who had previously been hesitant to speak up, shared an experience that deeply resonated with her. "Emma," James said during their one-on-one meeting, "I used to feel like my ideas didn't matter. Frank never took the time to listen, and honestly, it made me question whether I even belonged here. But since you've stepped in, I feel like I'm finally part of a team. I can see a future for myself here now." Emma smiled warmly. "James, your contributions matter. You're part of what makes this store special, and I want you to always feel comfortable sharing your thoughts. We're building this together." These small but meaningful interactions became the foundation of the store's evolving culture. Employees began to take more pride in their work, knowing they were supported and appreciated. Customers noticed the change too, leaving glowing reviews about the friendliness and professionalism of the staff. One regular customer even remarked, "It's like walking into a completely different store. The energy here is so positive now. It's a pleasure to shop here." Encouraged by the success at this location, Oliver decided to extend the training program to all stores in his chain. He gathered his regional managers for a meeting to discuss the next steps. Sitting at the head of the table, he laid out his vision. "What we've achieved at our Fifth Avenue location is just the beginning," Oliver said. "This isn't just about one store. It's about redefining the culture of our entire brand. I want every customer who walks into any of our stores to feel the same level of respect and care that we're now known for here. To do that, we need consistency across all locations." The managers nodded in agreement, eager to adopt the new direction. Oliver assigned Emma as the lead coordinator for the rollout, trusting her expertise to guide the other stores. Though initially hesitant about taking on such a significant role, Emma rose to the challenge with determination. "Mr. Carter," she said during one of their planning meetings, "I'm honored to help bring this vision to life. If we can achieve this on a larger scale, it will set a new standard for what luxury means in this industry." As the training expanded to other stores, Oliver began visiting locations across the country. His presence was a powerful motivator for the teams, who appreciated his hands-on approach. At each store, he took time to speak directly with staff members, emphasizing that their contributions were integral to the brand's success. During one such visit to a store in Chicago, Oliver met with a young manager named Sophia. She was energetic and full of ideas, but had struggled to implement changes under the previous regional leadership. After hearing about the success at Fifth Avenue, Sophia was eager to replicate the model in her store. "Mr. Carter," Sophia said, "I've always believed in treating customers with respect and creating a welcoming atmosphere. But I've faced resistance when trying to implement new ideas. Seeing what's happening at Fifth Avenue gives me hope that we can make real changes here too." "You absolutely can," Oliver replied. "It starts with leadership and the example you set. Empower your team, listen to their ideas, and don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. You have my full support." Inspired by his encouragement, Sophia began implementing similar training programs and team-building initiatives. Within months, the Chicago store saw significant improvements in both customer satisfaction and employee morale. Back at the Fifth Avenue store, Emma continued to thrive in her role. Her ability to foster a sense of unity among the staff was unmatched, and her efforts did not go unnoticed. Oliver decided it was time to make her position permanent. During a surprise visit, he pulled Emma aside for a private conversation. "Emma," Oliver began, "I want to thank you for everything you've done for this store. Your leadership has transformed it into a model for the entire company. It's time to make your role official. I'd like to offer you the position of permanent store manager." Emma's eyes widened with surprise and gratitude. "Mr. Carter, I don't know what to say. This means so much to me. Thank you for believing in me." "You've earned it," Oliver said with a smile. "Your dedication and vision have made all the difference. I'm confident you'll continue to lead this store to even greater success." As the days turned into weeks, the positive momentum continued to build. Employees across the company embraced the new culture, and customers flocked to the stores, drawn not just by the luxury goods, but by the welcoming and respectful atmosphere. Oliver's vision was becoming a reality, one store at a time. Standing in his office one evening, Oliver looked out over the glittering city skyline. He reflected on how far the company had come and the challenges they had overcome. What had started as a difficult confrontation with Frank had evolved into a turning point for the entire brand. By prioritizing respect, inclusivity, and integrity, Oliver had not only protected his company's reputation, but also strengthened its foundation for the future. As the city lights sparkled below, Oliver felt a deep sense of pride and fulfillment. He wasn't just building a business, he was building a legacy. And with leaders like Emma and a dedicated team behind him, he knew that legacy would continue to shine for years to come. With the foundation of the company's transformation firmly in place, Oliver decided to take his efforts a step further. He wanted to ensure that the cultural shift wasn't just a temporary change, but a long-lasting movement that resonated with everyone involved in the brand. To achieve this, he initiated a company-wide summit, bringing together managers, staff representatives, and external consultants to collaborate on a new mission statement and company vision. The summit, held in a grand convention center, was a 3-day event designed to foster dialogue, share experiences, and establish clear goals for the future. Oliver kicked off the opening session with a heartfelt speech, recounting the journey that had led to this moment. "Our brand was founded on the principles of respect, excellence, and inclusivity," he began, standing under the spotlight. "But along the way, we lost sight of what those values truly mean. The challenges we've faced recently have been a wake-up call, a reminder that we must hold ourselves accountable and never compromise on the principles that define us." The room was silent as he continued, his voice steady but impassioned. "This summit isn't just about policies or strategies. It's about people. Every single person in this room has the power to shape the experience of our customers, to make them feel valued and appreciated. That is the legacy we want to leave behind." Throughout the event, participants engaged in workshops and breakout sessions, discussing everything from customer service innovations to ways of fostering a more inclusive workplace. Emma, now a recognized leader within the company, led several of these sessions, sharing her success story from the Fifth Avenue store and inspiring others to follow her example. One of the most impactful moments came during a panel discussion featuring employees from various levels of the company. A junior sales associate from a small-town store stood up and shared her perspective. "I used to feel like I was just another cog in the machine," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "But when I saw the changes happening in our company, it gave me hope. It showed me that my voice matters, that I'm part of something bigger. I'm proud to work here now because I know we're making a difference." Her words were met with applause, and Oliver, sitting in the front row, nodded in agreement. This was the impact he had envisioned, a company culture where everyone felt empowered and valued. By the end of the summit, the new mission statement was unveiled: to create spaces where luxury meets inclusivity and every individual feels respected, valued, and inspired. It was more than just words. It was a promise to customers and employees alike. Back at headquarters, Oliver began working on a new initiative to support the changes further: a mentorship program. The program paired experienced managers like Emma with up-and-coming leaders to ensure that the next generation of employees would carry the company's values forward. Oliver himself volunteered as a mentor, taking on a small group of young professionals who aspired to rise through the ranks. One of his ments, a young man named Caleb, stood out. Caleb had started as a part-time cashier while in college and had recently been promoted to assistant manager at a regional store. During one of their one-on-one meetings, Caleb opened up about his aspirations and fears. "Mr. Carter," he said, his voice tinged with uncertainty, "I want to make a difference in this company, like you have. But sometimes I feel like I don't have what it takes. Leading people, making tough decisions, it's intimidating." Oliver smiled, recognizing the doubt he had once felt himself. "Caleb, leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about being willing to learn, to listen, and to grow alongside your team. You've already shown that you care about the people you work with. That's the most important quality a leader can have. The rest will come with experience." Caleb nodded, his confidence bolstered. "Thank you, Mr. Carter. That means a lot coming from you." As the mentorship program gained traction, Oliver noticed a ripple effect across the company. Stores that had once struggled with high turnover rates began to stabilize as employees felt more connected to their work and their colleagues. Customer satisfaction scores improved across the board, and the brand's reputation soared. One evening, as Oliver reviewed the latest performance reports in his office, his phone buzzed with a message from Emma. She had attached a photo of the Fifth Avenue store staff, all smiling and holding a banner that read, "Together, we thrive." Oliver couldn't help but smile. The image was a testament to the hard work and dedication of everyone involved in the company's transformation. It was a reminder of why he had fought so hard to protect the values that mattered most. But Oliver wasn't content to stop there. He began exploring ways to give back to the communities where his stores were located. Partnering with local organizations, the company launched an outreach program to provide job training and career development opportunities for underprivileged youth. The program was named Building Bridges, symbolizing the connections the company aimed to foster between people of all backgrounds. The first Building Bridges event was held at a community center in Brooklyn, not far from where Oliver had grown up. Standing before a group of eager young participants, he shared his story, from humble beginnings to becoming the CEO of a global brand. "I know what it feels like to be underestimated," he said, his voice resonating with emotion. "But I also know what it means to defy expectations, to rise above the obstacles in your path. This program is about giving you the tools and the support to do just that, because each of you has the potential to achieve greatness." The event was a resounding success, and Building Bridges soon became a cornerstone of the company's community engagement efforts. For Oliver, it was a deeply personal achievement, a way to honor his roots while creating opportunities for others to succeed. As the months turned into years, the company continued to thrive under Oliver's leadership. The challenges he had faced, starting with that fateful visit to the Fifth Avenue store, had transformed not only the business, but also the lives of countless employees and customers. On the anniversary of the company's founding, Oliver stood on the stage at a gala event, addressing a crowd of colleagues, partners, and supporters. Reflecting on the journey, he spoke from the heart. "This company has always been about more than just selling products," he said. "It's about people, about creating a legacy of respect, dignity, and inclusivity. Together, We've built something extraordinary, and I'm so proud of what we've accomplished. But our work isn't finished. Every day is an opportunity to do better, to be better, and to make a difference." As the audience rose to their feet in applause, Oliver felt a profound sense of fulfillment. His journey had been filled with challenges, but it had also been marked by triumphs that reaffirmed his belief in the power of purpose-driven leadership. The legacy he had envisioned was no longer just a dream. It was a reality, one that would continue to inspire and uplift for generations to come. The gala event marked a milestone, but for Oliver, it was another reminder that leadership meant constant evolution. In the weeks following, he doubled down on his efforts to keep the momentum going. He introduced a new program called Voices of the Brand, an initiative encouraging employees across all levels to share their ideas, challenges, and experiences directly with senior leadership. The goal was clear: foster an environment where transparency and collaboration thrived. As part of this initiative, Oliver began hosting monthly virtual town halls. Employees from every corner of the company were invited to participate, ask questions, and provide feedback. The sessions quickly became a highlight for the staff, as they saw their concerns addressed and their ideas valued. During one of these town halls, an employee from a small suburban store raised a question that resonated with the entire company. "Mr. Carter," she asked hesitantly, "how do you keep yourself grounded when leading such a massive organization? It must be overwhelming at times." Oliver smiled warmly. "That's a great question," he said. "Leadership can indeed be overwhelming, especially when the stakes are high. But what keeps me grounded is remembering why I started this journey in the first place. It's about people, about creating something that makes a positive impact on their lives. Every decision I make, I try to think about how it affects our employees, our customers, and the communities we serve. That's what keeps me focused and motivated." The response drew applause from the attendees, and it was moments like these that deepened the bond between Oliver and his team. They didn't just see him as a CEO, they saw him as someone who genuinely cared about their well-being. As Voices of the Brand gained traction, Oliver noticed a shift in the company culture. Employees felt more empowered to take ownership of their roles, and innovation flourished as new ideas surfaced from unexpected places. One such idea came from a warehouse employee named Mia, who suggested a streamlined inventory management system that significantly reduced errors and improved efficiency. Oliver personally reached out to thank her, and the recognition left a lasting impression on the team. Meanwhile, the mentorship program continued to thrive. Caleb, Oliver's mentee, had grown immensely in confidence and competence. Under Oliver's guidance, he spearheaded a project to modernize the company's digital platforms, making the online shopping experience more user-friendly and accessible. The project's success not only boosted sales, but also positioned Caleb as a rising star within the organization. "I never imagined I'd have the chance to lead something this big," Caleb admitted during a check-in with Oliver. "Thank you for believing in me." "You earned this opportunity," Oliver replied. "And you've shown what's possible when you step up and embrace the challenge. Keep pushing forward. You're just getting started." As the company continued to evolve, Oliver also looked outward, seeking partnerships that aligned with the brand's values. He collaborated with renowned designers from diverse backgrounds to create exclusive collections that celebrated cultural heritage and craftsmanship. These collaborations not only elevated the brand, but also underscored its commitment to inclusivity. One of the most talked-about partnerships was with a designer named Amina, whose work was inspired by her African roots. The collection, titled Heritage Reimagined, featured bold patterns and intricate detailing that paid homage to traditional artistry while incorporating modern elements. The launch event was a spectacular success, with media outlets praising the collaboration as a groundbreaking celebration of culture and innovation. During the event, Amina spoke passionately about what the partnership meant to her. "This isn't just about fashion," she said. "It's about telling a story, honoring my heritage, and showing the world that luxury can be both meaningful and inclusive. I'm grateful to Oliver and his team for making this vision a reality." Standing beside her, Oliver felt a deep sense of pride. This was exactly what he had envisioned when he started the company's transformation: a brand that went beyond selling products to creating connections and fostering understanding. In the midst of all this progress, Oliver made it a point to remain accessible. He continued his visits to stores, often unannounced, to interact with employees and customers directly. These visits kept him in touch with the realities on the ground and allowed him to address any emerging issues personally. During one such visit to a store in Los Angeles, Oliver had a memorable encounter with a longtime customer named Margaret. She was an elderly woman who had been shopping at the brand stores for decades and had witnessed its evolution firsthand. "I've seen a lot of changes over the years," Margaret said as she browsed the jewelry section. "But what you've done recently feels different. It feels genuine. Your staff are kinder, the atmosphere is warmer, and I feel like I truly belong here." Oliver smiled, deeply moved by her words. "Thank you, Margaret. That means more to me than you know. Our goal has always been to make every customer feel valued, and hearing that we've succeeded makes all the hard work worthwhile." The interaction stayed with Oliver as he returned to his office later that day. It was a poignant reminder of why he had embarked on this journey, to create a brand that resonated with people on a personal level. As the company entered a new chapter of growth and success, Oliver began mentoring Emma for an even larger role within the organization. Her leadership at the Fifth Avenue store had proven her capabilities, and Oliver saw her as a potential future executive. "Emma," he said during one of their meetings, "you've done an incredible job transforming the Fifth Avenue store. But I believe you're ready for more. I'd like to prepare you for a corporate role where you can have an even greater impact." Emma's eyes widened with a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Mr. Carter, I'm honored. I never imagined I'd have this kind of opportunity." "You've earned it," Oliver said firmly, "and I have no doubt you'll excel. This company needs leaders like you, leaders who understand the importance of values and vision." As Emma began her transition to a corporate role, she worked closely with Oliver to develop strategies that would shape the company's future. Together, they laid the groundwork for initiatives that would ensure the brand's legacy of inclusivity and excellence endured for generations. For Oliver, the journey was far from over. But as he reflected on how far the company had come, from the challenges at the Fifth Avenue store to the sweeping cultural changes that now defined its identity, he felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. He had set out to create something meaningful, and he had succeeded beyond his wildest expectations. And yet, he knew there was always more to do, more lives to touch, and more opportunities to make a difference. With a team of dedicated leaders by his side and a clear vision guiding his path, Oliver was ready to embrace whatever came next, confident that the best was yet to come. As Emma stepped into her new role, she began to implement broader initiatives alongside Oliver, ensuring that the company's evolving culture permeated every level of the organization. Her natural ability to connect with people and foster collaboration quickly made her a trusted leader among both employees and executives. She introduced a new project called Voices of the Future, aimed at gathering insights and ideas from younger employees to keep the company at the forefront of innovation. Oliver watched with pride as Emma seamlessly transitioned into her position. She brought fresh energy to the corporate team and a perspective grounded in her hands-on experience at the store level. Together, they began planning the next phase of the company's expansion, focusing on sustainability and ethical sourcing to complement their commitment to inclusivity. One day, during a strategy meeting, Emma presented an idea that captivated the entire room. "What if we create a flagship store that isn't just about luxury goods, but about storytelling?" she proposed. Each section of the store could showcase the journey of our products, from the artisans who craft them to the communities they support. It would be an immersive experience, connecting our customers to the heart of what makes our brand special. The room buzzed with excitement as the team began brainstorming how to bring the concept to life. Oliver leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful smile on his face. "Emma," he said, "this could be a game changer. Let's make it happen." The project, dubbed The Experience, quickly became the company's most ambitious undertaking. Located in the heart of Manhattan, the flagship store was designed as a multi-sensory journey through the brand's ethos. Customers could walk through galleries that highlighted the craftsmanship behind the products, meet artisans and residents, and even participate in workshops to learn about the processes firsthand. As construction began, Oliver and Emma visited the site frequently, ensuring that every detail aligned with their vision. The store would not only be a testament to the brand's commitment to transparency and inclusivity, but also a celebration of the people who made it all possible. From the artisans in small villages to the employees who brought the products to life in the stores. When the experience finally opened its doors, it was met with overwhelming acclaim. Customers marveled at the innovative approach, and media outlets hailed it as a revolutionary concept in retail. But for Oliver, the most rewarding moment came when he overheard a young visitor explaining the concept to a friend. "This isn't just a store," the visitor said. "It's a story about people, about values. You can feel the difference when you walk in." Those words stayed with Oliver, reaffirming the importance of the path he had chosen. The flagship store became a beacon for the brand's values, attracting visitors from around the world and setting a new standard for what luxury could mean. At the same time, the company's community programs continued to flourish. Building Bridges expanded to include mentorship opportunities for participants, connecting them with professionals in various industries. The initiative became a source of pride for employees, many of whom volunteered their time to mentor the next generation. One of the program's success stories was a young woman named Sophia, who had joined Building Bridges after struggling to find stable employment. With the skills and confidence she gained through the program, Sophia landed a position at one of the company's stores and quickly became a standout employee. A year later, she was promoted to assistant manager, a testament to her hard work and determination. At a company-wide event celebrating the success of Building Bridges, Sophia shared her story with the audience. "This program didn't just give me a job," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "It gave me a sense of purpose, a belief in myself that I hadn't felt in a long time. I'm proud to be part of a company that sees people for who they are and helps them reach their potential." Oliver stood in the audience, his heart swelling with pride. Stories like Sophia's reminded him of why he had worked so tirelessly to reshape the company's culture. It wasn't just about building a successful business. It was about creating opportunities and changing lives. As the years went on, the company continued to grow, but Oliver never lost sight of its core mission. He made it a priority to stay connected to the employees and communities that had made their success possible. He frequently visited stores, attended training sessions, and participated in community events, ensuring that the brand's values remained at the forefront of every decision. One particularly memorable moment came during a visit to a new store in London. A longtime customer approached Oliver, recognizing him from a profile in a business magazine. "Mr. Carter," the customer said, extending a hand, "I just want to thank you. Your stores are different. They feel welcoming, warm, like I'm not just another sale, but someone who matters. That's rare these days." Oliver shook the man's hand, his smile genuine. "Thank you for sharing that," he replied. "It's exactly what we strive for every day. Knowing that it resonates with our customers means everything." As Oliver boarded the flight back to New York, he reflected on the journey that had brought him here. From the challenges he had faced at the Fifth Avenue store to the sweeping changes that had transformed the company, it had been a journey of growth, resilience, and unwavering commitment to his values. Emma, now an executive vice president, was leading new initiatives to take the company even further. Under her guidance, the brand was exploring new markets, adopting cutting-edge technologies, and continuing to innovate in ways that stayed true to its roots. One evening, as Oliver sat in his office, he received an email from Caleb, who had recently been promoted to a senior leadership position. The subject line read, "Thank you." Opening the message, Oliver felt a surge of pride as he read Caleb's heartfelt words. "Mr. Carter, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for everything you've taught me. Your mentorship changed my life, and I hope to carry forward the values you've instilled in this company. I'm honored to be part of this journey." Oliver leaned back in his chair, a sense of fulfillment washing over him. The work was never finished, but he was confident that the foundation he had built would stand the test of time. The brand was more than a business. It was a legacy of respect, inclusivity, and excellence that would continue to thrive long after he was gone. And as he looked out over the city skyline, Oliver felt a profound sense of gratitude for the people who had shared this journey with him. Together, they had created something extraordinary, a brand that truly made a difference. As Oliver continued to guide the company into its next chapter, he began to think about the lasting impact he wanted to leave not only on the brand, but on the industry as a whole. The transformation he had spearheaded was now a model for others, and Oliver realized he had an opportunity to influence change far beyond the walls of his own organization. One day, during a meeting with his executive team, Oliver proposed an idea that took everyone by surprise. "What if we hosted a global forum for leaders in the luxury industry?" he suggested. "We could bring together CEOs, designers, artisans, and thought leaders to discuss how we can collectively redefine luxury to prioritize inclusivity, sustainability, and community impact." Emma, seated at the table, was the first to respond. "That's an incredible idea, Mr. Carter," she said, her enthusiasm evident. "It could be a platform to not only showcase what we've achieved, but to inspire others to take similar steps." The rest of the team quickly rallied behind the concept, and plans for the inaugural Global Luxury Impact Summit began to take shape. The event would feature keynote speakers, panel discussions, and workshops designed to spark dialogue and collaboration. It would also include a showcase of innovative projects and practices that exemplified the future of the industry. As preparations unfolded, Oliver reached out to some of the most influential figures in fashion, business, and sustainability. Many were intrigued by the idea and eager to participate. Among them was Amina, the designer who had partnered with Oliver on the Heritage Reimagined collection. She agreed to deliver a keynote address, sharing her journey and the importance of integrating cultural heritage into modern design. When the day of the summit arrived, the venue buzzed with energy and anticipation. The room was filled with an eclectic mix of industry veterans, emerging talents, and representatives from nonprofit organizations working on global initiatives. Oliver took the stage to open the event, his presence commanding yet approachable. "Today, we have a unique opportunity," he began, his voice steady. "Luxury has always been associated with exclusivity, but it doesn't have to be exclusionary. It can be a force for good, a way to bring people together, to uplift communities, and to protect our planet. The question isn't whether we can make this change, it's whether we will choose to." The audience erupted into applause, inspired by his words. Over the course of the summit, participants engaged in vibrant discussions about topics ranging from ethical sourcing to fostering diversity in leadership. Stories of transformation were shared, and actionable strategies were brainstormed. By the end of the event, attendees left with a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to driving change within their own organizations. The summit was a resounding success, but for Oliver, it was only the beginning. The connections forged during the event led to collaborative projects that pushed the boundaries of what was possible in the luxury industry. One such partnership involved working with artisans from underrepresented communities to create limited edition collections, with proceeds reinvested into local development initiatives. Meanwhile, within the company, Oliver continued to nurture the culture he had worked so hard to build. He implemented new programs to ensure that employees at every level felt supported in their personal and professional growth. One initiative called Next Steps provided scholarships and career coaching for employees who wanted to pursue higher education or advance into leadership roles. One afternoon, Oliver received a letter from an employee who had participated in the program. The letter, handwritten on elegant stationery, was from a young woman named Anna, who had started as a cashier and was now pursuing a degree in business administration. "Dear Mr. Carter," the letter began, "I wanted to thank you for creating opportunities that have changed my life. When I joined this company, I never imagined I would have the chance to grow in ways I had only dreamed of. Your vision and support have inspired me to aim higher, and I hope to one day give back to others the way you've given to me." As Oliver read Anna's words, he felt a profound sense of fulfillment. These moments of connection, seeing the impact of his leadership on individuals' lives, were what drove him to keep striving for more. The company's reputation continued to soar, earning accolades not only for its products but for its unwavering commitment to its values. Media outlets featured stories about the brand's transformation, and Oliver became a sought-after speaker at conferences and universities, sharing his journey and insights. During one such speech at a prestigious business school, a student asked him, "What's the most important lesson you've learned as a leader?" Oliver paused for a moment, considering his answer. "The most important lesson I've learned," he said, "is that leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking responsibility for the people you lead, for the values you uphold, and for the impact you make. It's about serving others and creating a vision that inspires them to be their best." The audience erupted into applause, and Oliver couldn't help but smile. Sharing his experiences with the next generation of leaders was one of the most rewarding aspects of his role. As the years passed, Oliver began to think about the legacy he wanted to leave behind. He knew that the company was in good hands, with Emma and other talented leaders poised to carry the torch. Still, he wanted to ensure that the principles he had fought for remained central to the brand's identity. To that end, Oliver established the Carter Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to advancing the values of inclusivity, sustainability, and education. The foundation funded scholarships, supported artisans, and partnered with organizations working to create positive social and environmental change. The launch of the foundation was celebrated with a gala event, attended by employees, partners, and beneficiaries from around the world. As Oliver addressed the crowd, he reflected on the journey that had brought him to this moment. "When I started this company," he said, "I never imagined it would grow into what it is today. But what I've learned along the way is that success isn't measured by numbers. It's measured by the lives we touch and the legacy we leave behind." This foundation is a continuation of that journey, and I'm honored to share it with all of you. The applause was thunderous, and Oliver felt a deep sense of gratitude for everyone who had been part of his journey. From the challenges he had faced at the Fifth Avenue store to the global impact he was now making, it had been a path of growth, resilience, and unwavering commitment to his values. As he looked around the room, filled with people whose lives had been changed by the company and the foundation, Oliver knew that the work they had started would continue to flourish long after he was gone. It was a legacy he was proud to leave, a legacy built on respect, inclusivity, and the belief that true luxury was about making the world a better place. As the Carter Foundation began to gain traction, it became a powerful extension of Oliver's vision. The foundation didn't just serve as a charitable arm of the company. It was a beacon for innovation and collaboration, bringing together minds from various industries to address some of the world's most pressing challenges. With a focus on empowering marginalized communities and fostering sustainable development, the foundation quickly established itself as a leader in its field. One of its first major initiatives was a partnership with international artisans to create a global network for ethical craftsmanship. The program, called Hands of Heritage, connected artisans from remote villages to global markets, providing them with fair wages and access to resources. It also incorporated workshops and training sessions, allowing these artisans to hone their skills and preserve their cultural heritage for future generations. Oliver personally visited several of the participating communities, traveling to rural villages in Africa, Southeast Asia, and South America. He wanted to see firsthand the impact of the initiative and meet the people whose lives were being transformed. In a small village in India, he met Ramesh, a master weaver who had been on the brink of abandoning his craft due to financial struggles. Through an interpreter, Ramesh shared his story with Oliver. "For years, I thought my art had no place in the modern world," he said, his hands resting on a loom he had inherited from his grandfather. "But now, because of this program, my work is reaching people across the globe. It's more than just a livelihood. It's a way to keep my culture alive." Hearing these words, Oliver felt a renewed sense of purpose. Programs like Hands of Heritage weren't just about selling products. They were about preserving identities, creating opportunities, and building bridges between cultures. When he returned to New York, he shared Ramesh's story with his team, inspiring them to push the initiative even further. Meanwhile, within the company, Emma was spearheading new efforts to integrate sustainability into every aspect of the business. She worked closely with suppliers to source eco-friendly materials and reduce waste across the supply chain. Under her leadership, the company introduced a groundbreaking initiative called the Second Life Project, which encouraged customers to return used items for refurbishment or recycling. The program not only minimized the company's environmental footprint, but also resonated deeply with customers who valued ethical practices. Emma's efforts didn't go unnoticed. At a major industry conference, she was invited to speak about her work, and her presentation earned a standing ovation. Sustainability isn't just a trend, she said in her closing remarks. It's a responsibility. And as leaders, we have a duty to pave the way for a more sustainable future. Oliver, sitting in the audience, couldn't have been prouder. Emma had grown into a leader who exemplified everything the company stood for, and her contributions were shaping its future in profound ways. As the company continued to thrive, Oliver found himself reflecting more often on the journey that had brought him to this point. The challenges, the victories, the lessons, it all felt like part of a greater tapestry, one that was still being woven. But he also knew that every story needed its next chapter, and for him, that meant preparing to step back from the day-to-day operations. During a private meeting with Emma, Oliver shared his thoughts. "Emma," he began, "I've been thinking about the future. There will come a time when I'll need to hand over the reins, and I want to make sure the company is in the best possible hands." Emma looked at him, her expression a mixture of surprise and understanding. "You've built something extraordinary, Mr. Carter. I can only hope to carry forward the vision you've created." "You've already proven that you can," Oliver said with a reassuring smile. "Your leadership, your commitment to our values, it's exactly what this company needs to keep growing. I'm not stepping away just yet, but I want you to start thinking about what that transition might look like." Over the next year, Oliver and Emma worked closely to ensure a smooth succession plan. They collaborated on long-term strategies, set goals for the company's continued growth, and reinforced the culture that had become its defining feature. Employees were kept informed every step of the way, fostering a sense of stability and trust. When the day finally came for Oliver to formally announce his decision, it was met with both sadness and celebration. The entire company came together for a farewell event, held in the same grand hall where the Carter Foundation had been launched. Standing on stage, surrounded by his team, Oliver addressed the crowd with a sense of gratitude and pride. "This company has been the work of my life," he said, his voice steady but emotional. "But it's not just my work, it's ours. Together, we've created something that goes beyond business. We've built a community, a family, and a legacy. And I know that legacy is in the best possible hands with Emma and all of you." The applause that followed was thunderous, a fitting tribute to a leader who had transformed not only a company, but also the lives of countless people. In the months that followed, Oliver transitioned into his new role as chairman of the Carter Foundation, dedicating himself full-time to its initiatives. He remained a trusted advisor to Emma and the company, but his focus shifted to broader efforts, from advancing education to combating climate change. One day, while visiting a school that had been funded by the foundation, Oliver was approached by a young boy holding a handmade card. The boy handed it to him shyly, and Oliver opened it to find a simple yet powerful message: "Thank you for believing in us." Tears welled in Oliver's eyes as he knelt to thank the boy. In that moment, he realized that everything he had worked for, every challenge he had faced, every decision he had made, had been worth it. The boy's words encapsulated the essence of his journey, believing in people, in possibilities, and in the power of purpose. As Oliver stood and looked out at the smiling faces around him, he felt a profound sense of peace. His story was no longer just his. It was a story shared by everyone whose lives had been touched by the work he had done. And though his role had changed, his mission remained the same: to make the world a better place, one person, one community, one legacy at a time. Years after stepping down from the day-to-day operations of his company, Oliver's influence only grew. His work with the Carter Foundation expanded into areas he had once dreamed of but never thought possible. The foundation became a global leader in fostering change, its reach extending from education to environmental conservation, from preserving cultural heritage to advancing technology for underrepresented communities. One of the foundation's flagship programs, Pathways to Potential, focused on providing scholarships, mentorships, and training to young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Oliver personally visited many of the participants, ensuring the program wasn't just a series of initiatives, but a transformative experience for those involved. At one such visit, a young woman named Clara shared her story during a small gathering of alumni. "Before this program, I didn't believe I had any options," Clara said, her voice trembling with emotion. "I didn't think people like me could achieve anything beyond survival. But because of the Carter Foundation, I not only went to college, but I'm now working on my dream of becoming a teacher. You didn't just give me an opportunity, you gave me hope." Oliver, sitting in the front row, felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Clara's words echoed the very reasons he had started this journey: to create lasting impact and to give others the tools to build a better future. As the Foundation's reach continued to expand, Oliver began forging partnerships with international organizations. He worked closely with the United Nations on initiatives aimed at tackling global issues such as poverty, inequality, and climate change. His reputation as a visionary leader brought him to stages around the world, where he spoke to governments, businesses, and communities about the importance of aligning purpose with action. One of his most significant collaborations was with a network of innovators focused on sustainable development. Together, they launched a global competition called Innovate for Impact, encouraging young entrepreneurs to propose solutions for challenges in their communities. The winners received funding, mentorship, and access to resources to bring their ideas to life. The first year's winners included a team of students from Kenya who developed an affordable solar-powered water purification system. Their invention went on to provide clean drinking water to thousands of people in rural areas, saving lives and improving health outcomes. At the awards ceremony, Oliver personally congratulated them, his pride evident in his voice. "You represent the future of innovation," he said. "What you've created is more than a product. It's a lifeline, a beacon of hope. The world needs more thinkers and doers like you." Back in New York, Oliver continued to mentor Emma and the leadership team of his company, now one of the most respected and socially responsible brands in the world. Under Emma's guidance, the company thrived, expanding into new markets while maintaining the values that had become its hallmark. She frequently updated Oliver on their progress, often seeking his wisdom on complex challenges. During one such conversation, Emma brought up the possibility of creating a new division focused entirely on innovation and philanthropy. "I believe there's more we can do," she said. "We've built a strong foundation, but I think it's time we take our commitment to the next level. What if we create a dedicated space where employees, customers, and partners can come together to develop solutions for social and environmental issues?" Oliver leaned back in his chair, a smile spreading across his face. "Emma, that's exactly the kind of bold thinking that has brought this company to where it is today. Let's do it. I'll help you find the right partners and resources to make it happen." The new division, named Impact Lab, quickly became a cornerstone of the company's identity. Its initiatives ranged from funding green energy startups to collaborating with universities on research projects. Employees were encouraged to contribute ideas, and the lab became a hub of creativity and progress. As Oliver watched these developments unfold, he found himself reflecting on the early days of his career. He remembered the challenges he had faced, the moments of doubt, and the small victories that had paved the way for larger triumphs. Each step, no matter how difficult, had led him to this point. One day, during a quiet moment in his office, Oliver received a package from an old friend, a framed photograph of the Fifth Avenue store, taken years ago when he had first begun his journey of transformation. Alongside the photo was a handwritten note. "Oliver, I wanted you to have this as a reminder of where it all began. What you've built is extraordinary, but it's who you are, the man who stood in that store, determined to make a change that inspires us all. Thank you for showing us what's possible." The note brought tears to Oliver's eyes. The photograph was a symbol of how far he had come, but it also reminded him of the values that had always guided him: respect, integrity, and a commitment to uplifting others. Years later, as Oliver approached his 70th birthday, the company and the foundation organized a grand celebration in his honor. The event brought together employees, partners, and beneficiaries from around the world. It was a night filled with gratitude, laughter, and reflection. As Oliver took the stage to address the crowd, he looked out at the faces of those who had joined him on this journey. Emma stood in the front row, alongside Caleb, Clara, Ramesh, and so many others whose lives had been touched by his work. He paused, taking a deep breath before speaking. "This isn't about me," he began, his voice steady. "It's about all of us, about what we've accomplished together. When I started this journey, I couldn't have imagined the impact we would have or the lives we would change. But every step of the way, I've been inspired by your courage, your passion, and your belief in what we can achieve." He paused, his gaze sweeping the room. "The work we've done is only the beginning. There is still so much to do, so many lives to touch, and so many challenges to overcome. But I know that with people like you leading the way, the future is brighter than ever." The applause that followed was deafening, a testament to the legacy Oliver had built. As the celebration continued, he moved through the crowd, speaking with old friends, meeting new faces, and hearing stories of how his work had inspired others. As the night came to a close, Oliver stepped outside to take in the view of the city he loved. The skyline sparkled against the night sky, a symbol of progress and possibility. He felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that his life's work had made a difference. And as he stood there, surrounded by the energy of a world he had helped shape, Oliver knew that the legacy he had built would continue to thrive, carried forward by the countless lives he had touched along the way. As the years passed, Oliver's name became synonymous with progress, innovation, and compassion. The Carter Foundation's influence continued to grow, spearheading initiatives that addressed complex global challenges. Its programs empowered individuals and communities, creating ripples of change that extended far beyond what Oliver had initially imagined. The foundation launched a landmark program called Future Frontiers, which combined technology, education, and environmental stewardship. The program aimed to bridge the digital divide in underserved communities, providing access to technology and training in areas like coding, renewable energy, and digital entrepreneurship. With partnerships spanning tech giants, universities, and grassroots organizations, the initiative quickly became a global success. One of its flagship projects was the establishment of a state-of-the-art tech and innovation hub in a remote part of sub-Saharan Africa. Oliver personally attended the opening, cutting the ribbon alongside local leaders and students. Inside the gleaming facility, classrooms were equipped with cutting-edge technology, offering young people opportunities to learn skills that would prepare them for careers in the global economy. During the opening ceremony, a young student named Linda stood up to speak. She had been one of the first to enroll in the program, and her story epitomized the initiative's impact. "Before this center, we had dreams but no way to achieve them," Linda said, her voice filled with emotion. "Now, I'm learning to code, and I want to use these skills to solve problems in my community. I'm not just dreaming anymore. I'm building a future." Oliver stood in the audience, moved by her words. He approached her after the ceremony and said, "Linda, your determination is exactly why we do this. Never stop building that future. You have the power to change the world." Back in New York, Oliver's presence remained a constant source of inspiration. Though he had officially stepped back from the company's day-to-day operations, he remained deeply involved as a mentor and advisor. Emma, now the CEO, frequently sought his guidance as she navigated the complexities of leading a global brand. Together, they continued to push boundaries, finding new ways to integrate social responsibility into every aspect of the business. One evening, as Oliver and Emma sat in his office discussing the company's latest sustainability initiative, she paused and looked at him thoughtfully. "You know," she said, "none of this would have been possible without your vision. You've created something extraordinary. Not just a business, but a movement." Oliver smiled, shaking his head modestly. "It's never been about me, Emma. It's about the people, the artisans, the employees, the customers, and the communities. They're the ones who make it extraordinary. I just gave them the platform." Emma nodded, understanding the depth of his humility. "Even so," she said, "your leadership has shown us what's possible, and that's something none of us will ever forget." As Oliver reflected on Emma's words, He thought about how much the world had changed since his early days in the industry. He had faced skepticism and resistance, yet he had stayed true to his principles. It wasn't always easy, but the results spoke for themselves. A thriving company, a global foundation, and countless lives transformed. The culmination of his efforts came when Oliver received a call informing him that he had been selected for one of the world's most prestigious humanitarian awards. The recognition was for his lifelong commitment to advancing equity, sustainability, and opportunity. Though he was honored, Oliver remained characteristically humble, crediting his team and partners for their collective achievements. The award ceremony was held in Geneva, attended by leaders, dignitaries, and changemakers from around the globe. As Oliver stood on the grand stage to accept the honor, he took a moment to gather his thoughts before addressing the audience. "This award isn't about me," he began, his voice steady. "It's about the countless individuals who believed in the power of change. It's about the communities that opened their hearts and minds to new possibilities. It's about the artisans who shared their crafts, the students who dared to dream, and the leaders who challenged the status quo." He paused, looking out at the faces before him. "When I started this journey, I didn't know where it would lead. All I knew was that I wanted to make a difference, to build something that mattered. And along the way, I've learned that the greatest achievements are never done alone. They're built together with love, with purpose, and with hope." The applause that followed was thunderous, a standing ovation that echoed through the hall. As Oliver stepped off the stage, he was met by friends, colleagues, and strangers who wanted to thank him for the impact he had made on their lives. One of them was a young woman who introduced herself as a former scholarship recipient from the Carter Foundation. "I'm here today because of you," she said, tears in her eyes. "Your foundation gave me the opportunity to pursue my education, and now I'm working to create similar programs in my country. You've inspired me to pay it forward." Oliver placed a hand on her shoulder, his own eyes misty. "That's the greatest legacy anyone could hope for," he said softly. "Keep making a difference. It's the most important work we can do." As the evening drew to a close, Oliver found a quiet moment to reflect. He thought about the journey that had brought him here, from his early struggles to the pivotal moment at the Fifth Avenue store, to the global movement his efforts had become. It had been a journey of resilience, of learning, and of unwavering faith in the power of people. In the years that followed, Oliver continued his work, always finding new ways to contribute and inspire. His legacy became a guiding light for others, a testament to what could be achieved when purpose and passion were aligned. And though his story would one day come to an end, the impact of his work would endure, carried forward by the lives he had touched and the seeds of change he had sown. As Oliver basked in the glow of the evening's accolades, a man approached him backstage, his demeanor calm yet intense. The man, dressed sharply in a tailored suit, extended a hand. "Mr. Carter," he said with a practiced smile, "congratulations on your well-deserved honor. My name is Victor Hale. I represent a consortium with a proposition I believe you'll find intriguing." Oliver, ever diplomatic, shook his hand. "Thank you, Mr. Hale. What kind of proposition?" Victor leaned in slightly, lowering his voice. "Let's just say it's an opportunity to scale your vision in ways you've never imagined. A partnership that could redefine what's possible, not just for your foundation, but for the entire world. We'd like to meet in private to discuss the details." Something about Victor's tone sent a ripple of curiosity and caution through Oliver. He studied the man carefully, noting the glint in his eyes that hinted at layers of ambition. "I'll consider it," Oliver replied evenly. "But I'll need to understand more before committing to anything." Victor smiled, as though expecting the response. "Of course. Take your time, but not too long. The future doesn't wait, Mr. Carter." As Victor disappeared into the crowd, Oliver couldn't shake the feeling that the encounter was more than a mere business pitch. He returned to his table, where Emma was waiting with an expectant look. "Everything all right?" she asked. "Not sure yet," Oliver replied, his tone thoughtful. "I just met someone who might have a bigger plan than I expected." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Bigger than you expected? That's saying something." Before Oliver could elaborate, his phone buzzed with a notification. It was an email marked urgent from one of the foundation's project managers. Opening it, Oliver's eyes scanned the message quickly, and his heart sank. The flagship Future Frontiers hub in Southeast Asia had experienced an alarming cyber attack, compromising not just data, but also access to critical infrastructure the program supported. "We've identified the breach," the email read, but the scope of the attack suggests this was no ordinary hack. It appears to be a coordinated effort targeting multiple initiatives under the Foundation. Oliver's mind raced. Who would target a philanthropic initiative? And why? As he shared the news with Emma, her expression turned serious. "This isn't just about technology," she said. "Someone wants to dismantle what we've built. The question is who, and what they're really after." At that moment, Victor's words replayed in Oliver's mind. "The future doesn't wait, Mr. Carter." Was it a coincidence, or was Victor connected to this attack? The pieces of the puzzle were scattered, but they hinted at a larger threat, one that could jeopardize everything Oliver had worked for. As the evening came to an end, Oliver stood by the window of his hotel room, looking out at the Geneva skyline. He felt the weight of responsibility heavier than ever. The cyber attack wasn't just a technological issue. It was a direct assault on the very ideals his foundation stood for. Emma knocked on the door and stepped inside. "What's the next move?" she asked, her tone steady despite the tension. Oliver turned to face her, his expression resolute. "We investigate, we protect what we've built, and we prepare for what's coming. Because this isn't just about one attack. It's about something bigger." Emma nodded, determination in her eyes. "And what if Victor Hale's proposition is part of this? If he's connected, it could mean they're playing on a much larger scale." Oliver's lips curved into a slight smile, but his eyes held a steely resolve. "If they think they can outmaneuver us, they're underestimating what we've built. We'll adapt. We'll fight back. And we'll show them that the Foundation isn't just an idea, it's a movement." He turned to the window again, the city lights reflecting in his gaze. This isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning. Want to know what happens next? Who is Victor Hale, and what are his true intentions? Will Oliver uncover the full extent of the threat to his foundation? Or is this just the tip of the iceberg? Asterisk, asterisk. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family, and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next chapter of this unfolding story. Remember, everything so far is just the beginning.